Today's video is about 5 ways to heal your brain after addiction by supporting our body's natural healing processes. Drug, alcohol, and other types of addiction cause lasting damage to the brain in measurable ways that have a noticeable impact on day-to-day life and recovery. Fortunately, our brains do heal. My name is Devin Fitzpatrick. I'm a therapist and licensed social worker with 4 years clean after a decade of addiction. And I'm passionate about helping people thrive in sobriety through deep healing, personal growth, and life transformation. I've seen how good life can get on the other side of addiction, and my life's work is helping more and more people discover that for themselves too. A free and easy way to support the channel and others seeking that freedom is to like and subscribe. With all that being said, let's get started. First, let's briefly cover how addiction affects the brain. There are 3 key functions that get hit hard: our reward system, mood regulation, and executive function. Over time, less and less things are seen as rewarding to the point where that addiction is really all that matters. And when that substance or behavior isn't available, there's this deep irritability, this difficulty feeling safe and calm, like the world is crashing down. And in the back of our minds, we can hear that adult voice whispering, "You know this isn't right. Do something different." But it's so difficult to pivot and make a different choice because the signal from the front of the brain down to the rest is weakened by the addiction. So it hijacks that reward system, makes folks feel terrible when they don't have that thing, creates the problem that it then offers the relief to, and makes it so hard to give up the pleasurable present for a more meaningful future. These are things that we can see in brain scans of people that have been stuck in addiction for a long time. Fortunately, our body's innate healing processes can reverse a lot of this damage. And there are things we can do to support that healing process. Next, let's briefly cover what happens in the process of that healing. There's 2 big fancy words that I've got to throw out here: neurogenesis and neuroplasticity. Neurogenesis is the creation of new brain cells. Neuroplasticity is our brain's ability to change. These 2, combined with rebalancing our hormones and thus the neurotransmitters and neuropeptides that come with it, help us step into a place of healing and recovery. And now, here are the 5 healing practices that help support that process for our brains to recover in recovery. The first is investing in quality sleep. Neuroplasticity happens when we sleep. A good night's rest is one of the most important things we'll do every day. It helps our body process waste, repair stress, and integrate memories and solve problems and do that deep mental processing where the neuroplasticity happens. We cannot overemphasize the importance of sleep for our body and mind's recovery, as well as functioning well the next day. There's many ways that we can improve the quality of our sleep, fall asleep more easily, and wake up feeling more rested. One of them that you might try is the circadian diet, where we eat 1 or 2 hours after waking up and stop eating 2 to 4 hours before going to bed. Try it out. You might notice a difference that same day. And sticking with it consistently can make all the difference, not only for the rest you get at night, but supporting that neuroplasticity to change old patterns and create new ones. This leads us right into our next practice: eating for the brain. It's no overstatement to say that we are what we eat. The nutrients we put into our body are the building blocks that it uses to repair, regenerate, and fuel our system for the work that we do throughout the day. A great way to restore that hormonal balance, feel better more often, and not so good less often, is through giving our bodies the nutrients they need to produce the chemicals that help us feel good. Two of the hormones, the neurotransmitters central to this conversation, are GABA and BDNF. The heavy hitters in this conversation are whole foods like leafy greens, berries, nuts, and seeds, as well as fermented foods like yogurt, kimchi, sauerkraut, provide the chemical precursors for our bodies to manufacture these feel good chemicals that help support our brain. Another way to support this process is by bringing down the inflammation that gets in its way. The standard American diet, SAD diet, is notorious for highly inflammatory foods. So, to put this into action, ask yourself, how can I swap out one of these ultra processed, highly inflammatory foods with a whole food that'll give my body what it needs to do what it wants to do? This could mean taking a bag of chips at lunch and trading it for some cashews or almonds. Or maybe taking one soda a day and swapping it out with a nice mug of green tea. You might decide to go all in, but often we burn out when we try to make too big a change at once. So starting small, building momentum, and building from there is a great strategy for long-term lasting changes. In the same way, starting a meditation practice with even 1 or 2 minutes and gradually building from there can create a monumental shift in your life from the inside out. There's loads of studies showing the benefits of consistent meditation for thickening that prefrontal cortex to get better at restraining impulses, tolerating frustration, thinking ahead to create that meaningful future. In addition, people who regularly meditate have a reduced size of their amygdala, that smoke alarm that goes off, like the one in the kitchen when you're just making eggs, but now it sounds like the house is on fire, but really, it's not a big deal. Folks with a history of trauma and addiction often have an increased size of that amygdala, so things seem so urgent, so dire, which isn't a personality fault. It's a side effect of this medical condition. And through regular meditation, we can help counteract those effects and step in to feelings of peace and calm that over time show up more and more throughout the day. Another great way to relieve stress and boost the biology of feeling good is with regular exercise. When we get our bodies moving, we mobilize those inner resources to release endorphins, improve neuroplasticity, flush those stress hormones, and reduce inflammation. All things that help our brains heal. When we sweat during exercise, our bodies create a ton of that BDNF, which has been called miracle grow for the brain. It's almost like the potholes in your city are the damage of the pathways in our brain. And that BDNF goes in and helps repair the damage from that stress. Exercise has also been shown to help us sleep better, make higher quality nutritional choices, feel more confident, build discipline, and a host of other benefits that support this larger scope of healing practices, especially this fifth and final one, staying sober. Imagine you woke up and accidentally bumped your shin on the coffee table. Naturally, it would heal, but let's say you kicked it again and again each day, and then decided to move it up to 3 times a day. After a while, that spot on your shin wouldn't feel so good, and wouldn't heal as well either from the constant re injury. In the same way, removing that source of chronic injury to our brains is essential for allowing them the space and the conditions to heal and recover. If you enjoyed this video, you'll love this one about writing your new story in your new life of recovery.